the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off, spread your little toes in the carpet, and make fists with them. You know, get comfortable. Get laid back and throw a blanket over you and grab your Bible and let's get started and do some braining. We got some braining, so let's brain some Bible together, people. My name is Jake Johnson, and you're watching Untethered Live on a Sunday night. It's Bible study night. It's the time of year for it, every Sunday. And, you know, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm doing better. Thank you for asking. I've been sick for a month, and I think I'm getting over it finally. Had a couple of good days. I still got a headache, though. That headache just won't go away. I don't know what that's all about, but sinuses, I imagine. But first I got COVID. And right on the heels of COVID, because my immune system was already low, I got a sinus infection, which turned into a big thing. So here I am, still struggling through it. But I'm going to make it because I'm tough. I'm tough, and my mama didn't raise no quitter. So I'm going to keep on fighting. That being said, it's a slow Sunday night. There's nobody here. There's usually somebody waiting on me. Maybe, you never know. It might be one of those nights. It might be a good night. It might turn out to be super bad. You never know. I've had that happen before, too. Show up, nobody be here for the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, 50 people show up. I like it when that happens. But, as you all know, the videos are posthumous, and they're saved forever, so that's not going to stop me if there's nobody here. I'm just read to myself, and you can watch it later. Pardon me for the voice. I'm a little nasally today. Like I said, I'm still fighting through this sinus infection, so it's all nose. All nose today. That's all right, though. As long as I can talk, we're good. And I can talk, so we're good. And today, we are in the book of Numbers, chapter 34, verse 13. That's where we left off. That's where we'll pick up in a few minutes and see if we can't round out this book. We got to be getting close to the end of it. I mean, it's a long book, but it ain't that long. We've been on it, seems like, for probably 4 weeks now. Getting close. 4 weeks. Yeah, that's a pretty long read. That's all right, though. It's a good book. It's a very good book, and it's got a lot of great stories in it. And if you followed along with us, then you've heard some of those stories. And some of them read like action-adventure movies, and some of them read like soap operas. Some of them read like court dramas. So you just never know what you're going to get from day to day. But it's always interesting, and you're always curious as to what's coming next. What's just around the corner, because there always is something just around the corner. Hello, current viewer. Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off. Let's get comfy and learn a thing or two. Or not. Whatever. I'm happy either way. Hello. Welcome to the show. Jake Johnson coming to you here live from the internet. Got to keep the pipes hydrated. Alpine Gulch, how are you? Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. And I'm fine, thank you for asking. I am alive and kicking, that's all I can say. A little deep in the voice, but it's all right. That's all right. As long as I can talk, we're good. I've been sick for a month, but you know, Just barely hanging on the edge of it, just trying to get better every day. And eventually I'll break through and break on through to the other side and be better because I'm persistent like that. How are you doing, though? More specifically, how's the weather? How are things up there in the Wild West, out there in the Wild West? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not too cool or too hot or moist in any way. That would be bad, I guess. I guess it depends. Okay, I'll shut up now and remove the foot from my mouth. Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off. Weather's nice and I'm good. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. It's always nice to be in good health and prosperity. Good health and prosperity. I'm worried about MVTV. I heard he was back. I heard he got home safe. I saw him pull up in his driveway anyway. But I hadn't spoke to him since then. Is there something new, or are you just talking about the trip he took? Is there something I missed? There he is. Ask him. I'm alive, thanks. Yeah, we was all rooting for you. We got you a whole new set of tires and everything. Welcome to the show, MVTV. Glad you're here. My man. That's a nice truck you got to, by the way. I don't know why I was thinking it was a lot raggier than it was when I saw it when you shot it. That last video you did, it's actually a nice truck. We had a big freeze and snow event. Ooh, that's never good. I don't like to be that cold. I don't know about you. Still recovering. Got dinner cooking. Thanks all. Was a pretty epic and scary. Best kind after it's over. Yeah, it always seems like you enjoy the experience more afterwards when you have a harrowing experience, because then you can reflect on it safely and think about the funny stuff. What's up, Kev? You're at Champs with April, Colin, Connor, and the man, CJ. Well, hello, Colin, Connor, and CJ and April. Welcome to the show. You didn't know it, but you're actually here at the show with me, which is taking place at Champs. And I'm glad you're all here. Howdy, Kev, April, and the 3 C's. Good evening, Walter Davis. Come on in. We got a good little pile going. That's excellent. How are you, sir? I'm glad you could drop by tonight. We plan to have ourselves a hoedown, a good time, a yee-haw kind of time. Whatever that means, I don't know. I'm just making up words at this point. But we got some good folks here, and we're ready to rock and roll. I'm just waiting on you guys. You tell me when you're ready, and I'm ready. Sitting on go. You see that behind me, by the way? That's my new toy. You see that? Right there. There. Yes, sir. I'm excited about that toy. That's my latest acquisition, and I love it. Hi, Jake, Alpine, Kevin, Montana, Stream Elements. Stream Elements is a bot. You don't have to say hello. It doesn't know you're talking to it. But thank you. All right. Well, I'm wasting good daylight, so might as well get to it. So let's go down, shall we? We need a book. Where's the book? There it is. If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to the great book of Numbers, chapter 34, verse 13. Bunch of threes there. You ever get that itch in the back of your throat that kind of feels like it's in your ear, and it kind of feels like it's in your nose, and it kind of feels like it's in the back of your throat, but you can't scratch it no matter which way you go? Make that face. That's all you can do about it. My first music experience was Ted Nugent on a 4-foot-tall amp. Yeah, blew me away. It was one of those amps, by the way. Camera is the new weapon. Hello, Walter. Camera is the new weapon. That's a name I hadn't seen before. Welcome to the show. Glad you could drop by. Come on in, get comfortable. We're just about to get started. Hello, April. Sorry I'm late. I have all 3 boys. Well, I don't envy you that, but I'm glad you're here because we're just getting started and we need you. ATL Transparency. What's up, my brother? I hope things are well in the big GA. Come on in. Chapter 34, verse 13 in the Great Book of Numbers is where we're at. And it reads, And Moses commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which ye shall inherit by lot. They're breaking it up into sections. Which the Lord commanded to give unto the 9 tribes. Why 9? Because one tribe is the Levites, and they don't get an inheritance because they're the priests. But they get perks. They get free places to live in every city. They get sanctuaries in every city. And they get the tabernacle. So their service to God is their inheritance. And then you got the 2 tribes, the 1 tribe and the half tribe of Manasseh. They did some bad stuff. So they get on the other side. They made a decision last week. Remember we were reading? They decided they wanted to take their inheritance on that side of the Jordan River, not where the land is for the other kids. So they don't get included into this. That's why it's 9 and not 12. And to the half tribe, which is the other half of Manasseh, which aren't morons. For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to their fathers, the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance. They decided to get it over there. Now, God chose this land, but apparently they know better, and they think this land will be better. Well, here's the deal. You're not getting out of the war part of it because all the children have to go into Israel and kick the current occupants out by war. So if you want your land over there, you're still going to have to go fight over here until the warring is done, and then you can go home and claim what's yours. That's the only way you're getting out of this. Those 2 tribes. If they don't fight, then they're in disobedience with God. They're in direct violation of his commandments, and thereby causing themselves to be punished by probably death. But they've made the deal. Look, as long as you guys are fighting, we'll fight with you. But we just want our land over here because we think we know better than God does. What did I miss there? According to Reuben and Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance, and half of the tribe of Manasseh has received their inheritance. The 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their inheritance on this side of the Jordan River near Jericho, eastward towards the sun rising. Well, that's kind of true, Camera, but in this case, in this specific case, this land does belong to them because they were given it by God as an inheritance by lot according to the size of their families. So in this case, Canaan, the land of Canaan, belongs to Israel by royal decree, no less. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, These are the names of the men which shall divide the land unto you. Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun. Those are 2 highly trusted men in the whole of the congregation, God puts a lot of responsibility on Joshua and Eleazar. Joshua more specifically because he's the war guy, Eleazar being the priest guy, so that between the two of them, they can handle pretty much anything. And ye shall take one prince of every tribe to divide the land by inheritance. And the names of the men are these: of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Juniphah; of the tribe of the children of Simeon, Shemuel the son of Ammihud; of the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad the son of Chislon; and the prince of the tribe of the children of Dan, Buki the son of Jogli. He likes to run a lot, that guy. And the prince of the children of Joseph, for the tribe of the children of Manasseh, or the half-tribe more specifically, Haniel the son of Ephod. That's not to be confused with the container ephod, or the vest ephod. I can't remember which. One of them, ephod. That just happens to be this guy's name. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Ephraim would be Kemuel, the son of Shiphthan. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Zebulun would be Elizaphan, the son of Parnak. What are you doing, ATL? Bad Helic? What does that mean? Oh, you got to use the back of your mouth to say the names? I hear you. That's all right. I speak English, so I'm gonna say it in English, but thank you. And the prince of the tribes of the children of Issachar would be Paltiel, the son of Azan. And the prince of the tribes of the children of Asher would be Ihud, the son of Shelemi. I'm lucky I can even pronounce the names, let alone say them correctly. They are tough. Or have something caught in your throat. Yeah. Yes. I think I said that right. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Naphtali would be Pedahel, the son of Ammihud. Pedahel. That sounds like a dangerous name, Pedahel. These are they whom the Lord commanded to divide the inheritance unto the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possession cities to dwell in. And ye shall give also unto the Levites suburbs for the cities round about them. Translation, the Levites don't get a portion of land because they're priests. They work for the church. But here's the perk. No matter what city they go into, no matter which lot they end up in of the 12 tribes, or 10 tribes, 9.5, they get sanctuary cities. They get portions of the land to stay in for free as long as they want, anywhere they want, because that's their perk. They work for the church, and the church takes care of them. That's kind of the relationship. Pastor teaches, congregation supports pastor. Priests run the church. Church provides a place for them to live. In the new days, they call that a parsonage because they localized it to one place. But in these days, they got a whole city to themselves. Wherever they went, they get it. And the cities shall they have to dwell in, and the suburbs of them shall be for their cattle and of their goods and for all their beasts. So they get pretty much room and board wherever they're at for whatever they have for free. That's a pretty good deal. And the suburbs of the city, which ye shall give unto the Levites, shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. So they get plenty of room to move around. And ye shall measure from without the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. And the city shall be in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the city. So if you can imagine a walled city with 2,000 cubits all the way around the city belong to the Levites. They live on the outskirts, so they kind of surround the city with the grace of God because they are the priests who teach the word of God and run the church that everybody attends. It's pretty smart if you think about it. You kind of want the people closest to God on the outside with you on the inside being protected by their knowledge. It seems logical to me. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge, which ye shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee thither. And to them ye shall add 42 cities. Now, what does that mean? That's weird. Well, no, this is old-time law. In those days, it was kind of expected that you were going to run into some trouble somewhere and have to kill somebody. That's just the nature of the world they lived in. War was a permanent fixture, and so were bandits, and, you'd have to protect yourself, and you might end up killing somebody. Well, they provided a sanctuary, a refuge, for people who were accused but not proven to have committed a murder. So the manslayer, before he goes to trial, he's a free man until he goes to trial. Now, it was customary in those days that say if I killed your sister, then you and all your brothers would come hunt me down and kill me. Unless I ran to one of these sanctuary cities, one of these refuge points, in which case I would be safe until the trial. Now, once I was pronounced to have committed a crime, then all bets are off. I'm probably going to end up being stoned to death or whatever. But until that point, you're innocent until proven guilty. And that appears even back then. We're talking 4,000 years ago. Yeah, you're guilty first in the U.S. Seems that way, doesn't it? Ain't supposed to be that way, but it seems that way. So all the cities which ye shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall ye give with their suburbs. That's theirs. They just have a place to go. It's as simple as that. If you want to have cities, then you have to provide a little portion of it for the Levites. Simple. And the cities which ye shall give shall be of the possession of the children of Israel. From them that have many ye shall give many, but from them that have few ye shall give few. Everyone shall give of his cities unto the Levites according to his inheritance which he inheriteth. So there's nobody not part of this deal. Everybody's part of it. If you got an inheritance, then you give of your inheritance to the Levites. It's as simple as that. You can call that a tithe or 10% of your earning. Whatever you want to call it, you give to the Levite because you got the inheritance. You give to the preacher because you got the knowledge he taught you. You give to the church because you have a church to go to. See how that works? It's supposed to be that way. Unless you're politically connected. Yeah, I hear you, brother. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the slayer may flee thither, which killeth any person at unawares. Meaning that it says at this point it's considered a manslaughter, a homicide. You know what I'm talking about. Unintentional murder. At this point, until proven guilty, you have to assume the guy's innocent or didn't intend to do the murder, so that he has a place to go where he can be safe until the trial. That's what that's all about. Centers of Knowledge for the Farmers, Achabad. Akabad. I don't know what you're saying there. Yep, I don't get it. Be more specific. And they shall be unto you cities for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer die not until he stand before the congregation in judgment. And that's pretty simple. He doesn't get killed until he's proven to have committed a crime, and then you're free to kill him. But until then, he has sanctuary and is safe. As long as he is within the walls of this city, you can't touch him until he stands before judgment, before the congregation, which is the trial. And of these cities, which ye shall give, 6 cities shall ye have for refuge. Ye shall give 3 cities on this side of Jordan, and 3 cities shall ye give in the land of Canaan, which shall be cities of refuge. Why is that necessary? Because a couple of the guys chose to live on that side of Jordan. Remember that. So they're just making sure everybody's covered. These 6 cities shall be a refuge, both for the children of Israel and for the stranger and for the sojourner among them, that every one that killeth any person unawares may flee thither. So, anybody that's accused of murder or unintentionally killed somebody by accident or something like that, they have a place to go, whether they're a part of Israel or not. If they live in that land, they have a place to go until trial. Seems like they're already setting up the form of government that we're accustomed to, or the way of keeping law anyway. Right off the bat, they just got the inheritance and they're already setting up ways to govern it to make it safe for everybody. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he smite him with a throwing stone, or with throwing a stone, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. This is the exception to the rule. We're talking about somebody dying by mishap or dying by something you did that caused that person's death, but not necessarily being a murderer. If you grab a knife and jug it into somebody's throat, you're a murderer. There's no need for a trial. If somebody saw you do it, you get killed immediately. That's the way they saw things. But say you're running a tractor and the tractor tips over and a guy gets smushed by it and it kills him. That is your fault, but you're not a murderer. It's something that could not be avoided, or maybe it could have been. That's what the trial's about. But it's a lot more of a gray area than physically killing someone with a weapon. Or if he smite him with a hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The revenge of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. This is the revenger of blood, is a vigilante, a man appointed to go out and get vengeance for someone's death or for someone's loss. Usually this person, we would call them today, we would call them a, executioner. The guy with the mask and the axe. That's today what this guy would be in those days. He would be given the task almost like a private investigator. He would be told who the man was, what he did, who he killed, and then he would be paid a handsome sum, and this revenger would go out and get him, this guy, and then bring him back, probably in a bag, his head in a bag. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is like a brother whose sister gets killed or raped or whatever, and then he goes out and becomes the avenger of blood, or the revenger of blood, by protecting his family, by doing what's right, by handling the problem of the guy who caused the problem. So there's the two ways you can be a revenger of blood. But if he thrust him of hatred or hurl at him by laying of wait that he die, or in enmity smite him with his hand that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. What does that mean? It means you can't lie in wait. You can't plan this out. You can't assume the position. You either get appointed to be the revenger of blood, or you're appointed that way due to circumstance. But you can't choose to become this guy, because if you do, that makes you a murderer, and you're as guilty as he is if you lie in wait. The revenger of blood goes directly towards the guy he's looking for, and when he meets him, he kills him, and then the matter is settled. Simple as that. Usually at some appointed time or some such. But if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying in wait, or with any stone wherewith the man may die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him that he die, and was not his enemy, neither sought him harm, then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments. And the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, and he shall abide in it unto the death of the high priest, which was appointed or anointed with the holy oil. What does that mean? Okay, if I'm following this correctly. If a guy accidentally kills somebody but didn't do it out of malice, didn't hurt the guy intentionally, it just worked out that way, and then he goes to seek the city but gets caught by the revenger of blood, then the congregation shall allow him to live in the refuge city until the high priest dies, the high priest that allowed him to live there. When the high priest dies, all bets are off, and this guy's number is punched, and people will be coming looking for him. But until the high priest dies, he's safe in the city. I think that's the way that works. Tell me if I'm wrong. But if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, if he leaves the city at any minute, if he steps foot outside of that refuge city, all bets are off and he can be killed by anybody. The revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood. Why? Because that's his job, to kill the guy. The only reason the guy's still alive is because he found refuge in the refuge city. If he steps out of the refuge city, then he's taking his life into his own hands. And if the guy catches him, he's dead. Because he should have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. Now, I got that wrong. A minute ago, I said that once the high priest died, all bets were off. That's incorrect. This sentence says that when the high priest dies, this guy's sentence is up. Means he's free. He could go back to living his normal life, and nobody will kill him. So basically, he's in house arrest. That's what that means. So I stand corrected. So these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations and all your dwellings. Do it this way, and it'll work out. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of the witness or witnesses. In other words, if you saw him do it, 2 witnesses is good enough, and that guy's dead. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. You need 2 or more. 3's better. 2 will suffice if it's done in a church. Moreover, you shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death because of what his guilt is. It's death by association. He's guilty of murder, so he gets killed. Simple as that. But you shouldn't take any joy in it. This isn't a fun thing to do. It isn't something you should be satisfied about. Death is death, no matter who it is. And human life is more valuable than that, even though sometimes we forget that. Ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest. When the high priest dies, he's free to go. He can go back and live his life. But you shouldn't take any satisfaction in that either, because he's still a murderer. He just got away with it. Basically, he lived out his sentence. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein you are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. The only way you can cleanse blood is by covering it with blood. I don't know why that makes any sense, but it does. That's biblical logic. When you spill blood, your blood must be spilt. That's the only thing that'll cover that sin. Otherwise, the land is defiled. Defile not, therefore, the land which ye shall inhabit. Don't crap where you eat. Simple. Wherein I dwell, says God, I live there. I don't want you defiling the land because I'm there with you. For I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. It's pretty simple. God says it plain as day. I am with you. Don't defile the land because you'll be defiling the place where I stay. And you can't do that. This is to be a particularly holy area. You're supposed to work hard to make it clean, to keep it sin-free, to keep false idolatry out, and to keep the sojourners that would have you do that sort of thing out. And the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, came near and spake before Moses and before the princes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, The Lord commanded my Lord to give the land for an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of Zelophehad, our brother, unto his daughters. Yeah, we went through that before, because this Zelophehad had no sons, but he had daughters. And God and Moses both saw fit that the daughters should receive that portion of land, because that's only fair. They're the next in line. Yes, the son goes first, but if there's no son, then it goes to the daughter, and that makes perfect sense. And if they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall it be taken from the lot of our inheritance. Well, this guy's just concerned about the daughters getting a little too much power because they got their inheritance and the inheritance of the person they marry. It doesn't work that way. The land belongs to the person it belongs to. It is not crossed up. This is not that kind of property. This is property dealt out by God, meaning it's yours. You don't get to share it with anybody else. It's yours, period. And when the Jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put unto the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. so shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribes of our fathers. Don't worry, you're not going to lose your land because a chick gets married. She has her own inheritance to worry about. You have your inheritance to worry about. Ne'er the twain shall meet. Or however you say that. And Moses commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph hath said well. Well, yeah, it's common sense. This is the thing which the Lord doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry. So they can only get married to people who already have the possession that they're entitled to. Therefore, there's no confusion, right? That makes sense. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. Every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. Meaning you can't sell it, you can't trade it, and you can't mix it up in marital matrimonious bliss, whatever you want to call that. You can't do that. There is no, I want half. You walk into this marriage with your inheritance. You leave this marriage with your inheritance. You don't get any of mine. It's as simple as that. Mine is mine, yours is yours, period. And the reason it's this way is that way Israel as a whole will always have land. God does not intend them to break it up and sell it off. He does not intend them to mix and mingle until one person has all the power. He gave everybody as much land as they needed according to the size of their family. Period. That's the end of the transaction. There are no more transactions to be made. This is your land for your family. Only your family can have it. That's their land for their family, and only their family can have it. I think that's pretty smart. This other stuff is things that we made up so that we could gain more properties over time. That's not what God had in mind. And every daughter that possesseth an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. So if she marries into her father's family, she's already got the inheritance that's allotted to that family. She's got her portion, they've got their portion, but it's their family's inheritance. So that means their property does not increase or decrease if she marries. Now, if she marries outside of that, that's going to cause a problem because of this rule. So therefore, if the woman accepts the inheritance, she is thereby commanded by God to only marry within her father's family, period. If she doesn't accept the land, she can marry whoever she wants to, but them's the breaks, ladies. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance, as I stated earlier. You get yours, I get mine, and there the twain shall meet. I think I'm saying that right. I have a really bad headache, and I can't really think straight, so if I'm saying weird stuff, that's why. Even as the Lord commanded Moses, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahlah, Tirzah, and Hoglah, the big fat one, and Milcah, she had the hooters, and Noah, not the Noah with the ark. And the daughters of Zelophehad were married unto their father's brothers' sons. So all is good. They all got married to their father's family, and their inheritances are safe, and the other guy can quit freaking out because his land might get taken by some little harlot out there trolling. You don't have to worry about that. God had that set up already. And they were married into the families of the sons of Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. Beautiful. These are the commandments and the judgments. Remember, anytime you see a statement like that, these are the days of, these are the commandments of, these are the whatever of, that's a switching of the authors. Now we've got a different author writing this portion of Numbers than the one previous. This is a signature, a sign-off. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses unto the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, period. And that is the end of the great book of Numbers, and that's where we're going to stop today, boys and girls. Discuss. We will pick up tomorrow night in this great book of Moses, the fifth book of Moses, called Deuteronomy. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found solace. I hope it taught you something. I hope you gained or gleaned some information that helps you get closer to God by way of the study of His Word. And I hope you did. And won't you do me a favor while you're thinking about that? And hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online and when my new videos drop. Smash that like button. It's right in front of you. It's free. It's effortless. It really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you do that, please? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Subvert their expectations. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. You know, question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Hey, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I really want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to be part of that, or if you feel led by God to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings to the place where you're taught, or if you just like to pat me on the back and buy me a cup of coffee and say, hey, nice job, Jake, I see what you're doing here. You can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. If you're a Cash App user, you can go to $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to you too, because God notices these things. It's right there in His Word. He said it Himself, you know, ask and ye shall be answered. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Give and ye shall receive. That's how it works. We live in a reciprocal universe. So I greatly appreciate your support and your confidence, and I will do everything in my power to be worthy of it. And now I will conclude this video by taking all of your questions and comments, and I thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jake, have a big dinner of curried goat before a study with a lot of Hebrew names. It helps in the pronunciation. Haha, I bet it does. Jeannie, welcome to the show. There's a name I hadn't seen in a while. Glad you could drop by. I hope you found something you like here. The Fall of Jericho. Blow the horn. Jubilee. Shuffer. That is an exciting chapter, says Alpine. Thank you, ma'am. I think so. April says, much love all. Sorry I couldn't be in the chat much tonight, but I'll rewatch it. Jake, I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Well, I love you too, honey. Hi, Jeannie. Welcome, says April. What did I miss up here? ATL's going off. Absconder. I remember what that's about. If you go into Jewish communities, you see he still dwells among his people. They follow these laws, Orthodox Jews. That's a fact. And it ain't just the Jews. He's with his people if they're Christians too. Trust me on that. Israel forever. Israel is real. Yes, it is. I think I'm caught up. Any questions, comments, criticisms, catharses, catalogs, crustaceans? Can't say that with a more straight face. Do you have any idea what we're talking about tonight? Mostly land property rights, but a little smidgen of feminism, just for good measure, smeared on the top there. Real feminism, not this third wave nonsense that's going on right now. I was watching some old Columbo TV show, and it struck me how many of the bad guys were women in that show. And I was like listening to these little young girls over here whining about how nobody's ever let women get ahead in movies and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, did you watch Columbo back in the 70s? Because they looked like they were pretty much in charge and large in those days. I don't know what's going on with these people. Interesting. What do we got here? Just a moment, please. All right, I'm back. April says, I have all the boys and we're eating. So I'm going to say good night, all. May God bless and watch over us all. Amen, sister. Land and manslaughter. Yep, that's kind of what we're talking about, Alpine. Kevin says, 3 boys can kind of get in the way of listening to Bible study. Not if you make them listen to that, and they are playing some good old Hank Williams Jr. Now, that may cause a problem. I like a little Hank, too. I play a little Hank every now and then. I can see how that could be distracting. I like your idea, Walter, about the curry dinner, but I think I'll pass on the burning booty hole. I don't like that part of it. Good night, April, says Alpine. Hi, Jeannie, says Walter. Jeannie, introduce yourself, sweetie. I don't know who you are, but I welcome you to the show. And maybe we can see you again tomorrow night. We do have some good stuff going on here, and we're starting a brand new book tomorrow night, the Book of Deuteronomy. It's a book about a bunch of guys that hang out and do stuff. They call that a goat grab. Oh, yeah. The old goat grab. I like it. It's been a lovely day today. No rain. It rained all day yesterday, but today, nice and peaceful outside. Nice and cool all day. It was wonderful. I'm serious. I bet you are. I just don't know exactly what you're referring to. Unless you're talking about the burning booty hole. And if that's what they call it, that sucks. I've never been grabbed by a goat, but I have been bunted by one. And that wasn't fun. But it's funny. Yeah. The old curry dinner. Curry is delicious unless you don't regularly eat curry. And then it's bad for you. Can cause lots of issues. If you're going to eat curry, I suggest you eat it all the time. Get accustomed to it. They cook the goat whole on a bed of rice underground. I've had that goat before. Branded 64, what's up, buddy? Nice rendition of Rolling with the Flow there on your website. Y'all should check that out if you want to hear some good old country music. Brandon is the man. And hit the like button, says Kevin. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. All grab a bite with their fingers. Yep. The goat pull. I know what you're talking about. You're welcome, sir. Walter says, I'm not one to call the police every time, mostly because they're ineffective. Why would you call the police? What are you talking about? Everybody says, hey, Brandon. Who are you going to call the police on? What's that in reference to? I don't believe in calling the police either. I like to handle my problems in-house. But I have a few neighbors that like to call the law every time anything goes on, and that shit got to stop, neighbors. You got a problem with me, you need to come talk to me, and we'll solve it. Don't need no cops. As far as the guy who goes out to collect the bad guys, how are they qualified? They're usually appointed, I would imagine. I don't really know. This is a law that hasn't stayed on the books, so to speak. It's been conscripted by other things that we do, but in the old days, I would imagine the Revenger of Blood would have been appointed by, say, the family of the victim. So that's what would qualify. What qualifies anybody to take another person's life? You know, at that point, you're just flailing and hoping for the best. Guys that steal from me or mess with friends or family. Okay, well, I didn't see where you started that conversation. I saw where you ended it. So I was a little confused. And I'm just going back over the chat real quick here, and I still don't see where you started that conversation, but don't be one to call the police. I agree with you. Brandon says, hey, everybody. Bad explanation on my part. You just left a little out, that's all. It wasn't a bad explanation. I just didn't know what you were talking about. You know, I can't read your mind, even though it may look that way sometimes. I can't. So I got to know what you're thinking. So when you, and this, I ain't just singling you out. This goes for anybody who does chat anywhere. Be specific. Use subject and object, because otherwise I don't know what you're talking about. All I see is random words popping up 10 seconds after the conversation that you're responding to, which was 10 seconds before you responded to it. So that's 20 seconds ahead of me is your comment there. So if I don't see what the comment's about, I have no idea. It's just random words. Sometimes they get a curiosity call. Brandon says, I pray that I'm never put in a situation to have to hurt somebody, especially kill them. Me too, buddy. Jeannie says, hello all. So nice, April. Hello, Jeannie, and welcome to the show. Hope you found something here you like. I hope you come back for more because, you know, we get down from time to time. Walter says, hey, Brandon. If you guys want to hear some good old country music, go check out Brandon's YouTube page. It's pretty nice. I concur, Doctor. And he writes his own music, too, so that's pretty good. I'd help you, Jake, but I'm lost, too. Yeah, well, it takes a little skill. You know, it takes a little time to be able to follow the chat in a deficit as you go. And I'm getting better at it, but I ain't quite good at it yet. Sometimes I get completely turned around and have no idea what I'm responding to. But I try to keep it straight. It helps to have a good memory and to refer back to what you said earlier when reading chats that are coming out now. Sometimes you can line them up and sometimes you can't. There's his channel. Thank you, MVTV. That's Brandon's channel. Anybody wants to check it out? Walter says, I'll check you out, Brandon. He's a pretty good dude. He's a fellow long hair like myself. I've been jamming out on that new amp there for the past few days, dialing it in, getting my sound right. Brandon, did you see that? Look behind me there, Brandon. Aren't you jealous? You should be. That's a bad mofo right there. I'm just messing with you. But I have been dialing it in and trying to see which guitars sound better with it and get it to where it sounds like me, because I've never played through an amp of that quality before. So I'm getting there. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Be happy. Something like that, right? Yes, that's an awesome piece of equipment. Yes, it is. I stole it. I straight up stole it, and I slapped the guy in the face when I walked away with it. I've recently went and looked at that thing online, like at Sweetwater or whatever. And that particular amp, just the head, goes for about $900. And the cabinet goes for about $700, somewhere in that range. It's about almost $2,000 worth of stuff right there. And I paid $600 for it, and it's brand new. It's covers that go over it, so it's never even been outside of the covers for any length of time. The guy only played out with it 3 or 4 times, and then it came to me. It's basically brand new. I straight up stole that thing. I mean, not really, because he knew what he was doing. He sold it to me, but you get my point. I used to have a ponytail halfway down my back and a beard. Now I'm old with bad hair, LOL. Aw. Well, just 'cause you're old don't mean you got to cut your hair. I'm old and I ain't cutting my hair. How do your neighbors like the new Marshall? Well, they don't bother me too much about it. I try to keep it reasonable. You know, I don't like get up and start jamming out at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. It's worth every penny of $2,000. Yes, it is. And the fact that I gave $600 for it makes it doubly worth that. And I'm gonna have to try real hard to take care of it and keep it clean and, you know, not bang it around in the trailer so much. Keep the covers on it and that sort of thing. I got 2 vinyl covers that go over it. They're very nice. And they're printed Marshall on them. So, I mean, it's the whole package. And it came with the foot switch. So that's pretty cool. But, man, that thing sounds fantastic. And here's the thing I like about it the most. It's got a little switch on the back. It's a 100-watt head. But I can switch it to 50 watts. I don't even have to use the 100 watts. I can keep it on 50 and it don't get too loud on stage. Or if I play outside, I can flip that joker over to 100 and have all that power. I think that's pretty cool. That'll save the tubes too. Just run it at half power and it sounds phenomenal. The thing sounds great. It really does. And it's very articulate, like you can hear every individual string. It seems to know when I'm trying to articulate or whether I'm trying to hold back a note or ghost notes or whatever. It seems to understand that language because when I need it, it just kind of pops out. I can lighten up my touch very slightly and it'll go clean, or I can put a little weight on my hand and it goes dirty. The thing's just very responsive. I'm very happy to have it. It only took me 40 years to get one, but I got one now. Back to the blood Avenger thing, Jake. If the police do nothing, is someone wrong for taking care of things themselves? The only thing I can tell you about that is that Christ said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is God's. So, yes, there's something wrong with it because it's against the law for you to become a vigilante and to take things into your own hands. That being said, there are castle doctrines in this country that allow you to defend yourself. And some places take that seriously. Some places not so much anymore, but it always has been kind of the law of the land that if there's no law around, you got to handle business yourself. Go ahead and handle it. Like if somebody breaks into your house, you could blow them away. So I don't want to give you any legal advice here, but my instinct on this subject is that between you and God, if you defend your family or yourself, no, you haven't done anything wrong. That's not to say you might not end up in jail for it. I hope that was a sufficient answer. That's about the best I can give you under the circumstances. I'm getting pretty tired of dope dealers in my area. Well, now your dope dealers, you can't go handling them because they're not killing people outright. They may be people dying because of their actions, but those other people are complicit in that death as well. That doesn't have anything to do with you, even if you don't like it. If one of those dope dealers kills a member of your family, however, then I'd say go handle business. But as far as people doing drugs, it's not just the dealer's fault. It's the drug addict's fault also. So you got to take that into consideration when judging someone. But also, God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. It's not your place to take vengeance. It's God's place to take vengeance. So allow him to do his work. That's the way I see that. Maybe I'm right. Who knows? I am no judge. They are wrecking the community. I'm watching the kids toss years of their lives away. I understand it's frustrating, but that's a decision those kids are making too. So maybe instead of dealing with the drug dealer, maybe you should work to provide something for the community to do other than drugs and offer them an alternative. The reason most people get into drugs is pure misery. Pure nothing else to do, life-sucking misery. Who is supposed to protect the weak? The strong. That got real quick. Yeah, it did. Hey, read Isaiah 2:4. Well, there you go. Start hunting rats, and it'll never end. Doesn't mean you can't lose control or hop a curb every once in a while. There are all kinds of answers to that question. Most of them are probably wrong. But there is an answer to that question. I guess it just depends on how far you're willing to go. Because their parents are screw-ups. That's why they end up at my house as foster kids. Most have had habits themselves. Well, there are parents that screw up, but there's also equally as many children who screw up that the parents are doing the best they can do and just can't seem to get through to them. So it goes both ways. Christians don't like Isaiah 2:4. I don't know why they wouldn't. If it's in the Bible, I like it, and I'll teach it. You have to wait till I get to Isaiah, but I will teach it. One thing I don't do is hop around because that confuses everybody. But if it's in there, I'll teach it. Because I trust the Bible completely. And I trust it because I found it to be a accurate, relevant source of information that has never let me down once, and never proven to be a lie, never proven to be incorrect. If you can prove any of those things, I'll lay it down immediately and never look back. But you can't. I know because I've tried and I'm pretty smart. But for the sake of conversation, if you wish, give us a vague outline of what's in Isaiah 2:4. And that way everybody will know what we're talking about. That's something I like about you, Jake. You don't cherry pick verses to support your argument like a lot of so-called preachers do. That's correct, Walter, and I will never do that. I may point out a verse that supports what I'm saying, but I don't jump around. I teach what is in front of me. If we're studying numbers, then I teach numbers. We're talking about property rights. We're talking about such and such. If I'm teaching Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then we're talking about Jesus, and we're talking about what he taught and that sort of thing. I don't jump around. I don't mix metaphors, and I don't try to confuse people with baffling them with all these different random numbers that you can barely hang on to what's being said in the first place, let alone throwing a bunch of other stuff on top of it. I just don't think that's a smart way to teach. I think that causes more atheists than anything else does. Too many cherry pickers among proclaimed Christians today, in my opinion. I agree. Talks about when God comes back. Yippers. I read cover to cover, over and over. That's the way you do it, front to back. The Tanakh is the beginning, believe it. But what comes after sometimes doesn't make sense. I don't know what that word means. You have to speak English. The whole counsel of God is there for us to glean from. That's true. Well, the Bible is pretty specific. You can get deep in the weeds, and you can read the codes and the in-between stuff and the acrostics, and you can get into, the meanings of each individual Hebrew letter, and I've done some of that, and I'll do some of that again. But on the surface, it pretty much tells you what it's saying in plain English, for lack of a better word. And you don't have to go any deeper than that to understand it. A 3-year-old can understand every concept in the Bible, and I stand by that statement. I could have a conversation with a 3-year-old and explain every concept in the Bible to them, and they'll grasp it and know what they're understanding. That's not to say that it can't get more complicated than that if you dig into it, because there are more complicated layers. But the simple fact is, the Bible is here for everyone, the super intelligent and the barely literate. But everyone can read from it and learn from it. And if you want to go deeper, you can. And we are going deeper slowly. Remember the first time I read through this book, if you were here, we've already been through the Bible once. I just read the words. I didn't add anything to it. I just read the words. This time through, I stop in every sentence. I try to explain what's going on. I try to explain the context of what's going on and put it in reference of human lives, of people who have lived these things, because that's what it is. It's a record of real lives. And I try to put it in a way that people can grasp it. The next time through, I'll get even deeper than that and start making connections with other things. I kind of figure to see evil and do nothing makes you complicit to evil, kind of like the Israelites letting foreign false gods go and doing nothing correct. I read the children's Bible, but not the adult one. I hear you. We all knew the Old Testament before we were born, and we forget it when you are born, only to remember as you hear it. You remember the Bible. I kind of agree with that. I think that the important stuff, the right from wrongs, the 10 Commandments, that sort of thing, I believe that is imprinted on your heart. The Bible says as much. It tells you it is. It tells you that God placed those things in your mind as a seal. That is the seal of God. And if you have it, then you have it. And you're aware of it even before you're born. And as a child, like when you get caught stealing something and you feel guilty and you cry because you got caught, no one ever explained to you what stealing was or what property rights were or the moral implications of right and wrong. You just got caught with your hand in a cookie jar and you instantly knew it was wrong. Simple as that. Same thing with the rest of the commandments. So yeah, I believe that before you're born, you have an innate knowledge of what's going on because you're there. Your spirit was created when God created the host. When God said, "Let us make man in our image," he was talking to man. They're spirits. That's who he was referring to. So you're made in your image. Adam was made in God's image. You're made in your image. I'm made in my image. That's how it works. But when you are issued into this life, you are here with a clean slate. You have no knowledge of what came before. You have no knowledge of what's coming after. You only have the knowledge of what's right here because you are put here to make a decision. Follow God or follow Satan. It's that simple. You make that decision and you're done. Now your job is to wait. Tarry until the return of Christ. That's it. That's why we're here. That's the reason for life. Simple as it may be. Why is that necessary? Because before this, a third of God's angels fell listening to the nonsense that Lucifer was preaching. That's why this is necessary. So we got dealers stealing people's souls from their God, money, and we do nothing. That's not entirely true, Walter. People are doing lots of things. It just ain't enough. You don't learn the Bible, you remember it. Well, that's a matter of opinion. I know some people that didn't know it to start with. But I think that the important stuff, I think that's written in your heart. There is much written on this. Well, if it's in the Bible, I'll listen to it. There's a specific angle that does, and there is a specific angle that doesn't make you forget. You mean angel? And what Eve did was so insane, she interrupted the way God reaches. Well, it was pretty insane, I'll give you that. All right, boys and girls, we're getting pretty close to the top of the hour, and I got to pee, so I'm going to call this thing. Have a great night. Thank you all for being so interesting and having such good conversations and keeping it going and learning and having a desire to learn. That is a beautiful thing, and that's the very reason we do this. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all you time that you give me, and I will give you an equal amount of time trying to make sure that everything works right. Alpine says, thanks for the reading and translating, Untethered. You're certainly welcome, honey, and I appreciate you, all of you. And Brandon says, we're all born with sin, nature, and a conscience that God has placed in us all. That is true. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night at 8:30 right here on Untethered Live. Don't be late and bring a book. It's a date. Have a great night. Be nice to people as you go out into the world. Care for them. Show them that your inner light does shine. Show them that God's words are true with every action and reaction, and you will have a better life for it. Thank you so much. I love you with all my heart, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great night, and thanks for watching.